All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That
Well,
sounds good.
look, here we are. So we're at the grocery store bar / gas station convenience store. Roadkill find, roadside fruit stand, everything.
Hey,
There we go.
Yeah.
All channels of commerce.
All channels. Yeah. So we have both of us have guests on today. We're a guest on yours. You're a guest on ours.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think just hanging out. I think technically that's just hanging
out.
Yeah.
Right.
So Elliot, you want to do a quick introduction?
Sure. So I am Elliot Strunk, and I am one of two hosts of Two Designers Walk Into a Bar. Based on the name, you could probably guess there are two of us.
And I am Todd. I'm the other designer that walks in a bar and into a bar. I'll remember the name of our podcast one day. So our podcast is about iconic design and pop culture, and we have some friends joining us.
Hi.
Yes. Tell us who you are, young man.
I am Kirk Visola. I'm the founder and creative director of Mind the Font. It's a full-service branding and packaging design agency, and I'm here with my other friend,
Andy Kurtts, founder and creative director of Buttermilk Creative.
And we do the Kirk and Kurtts design podcast. We mainly talk about packaging and design. It was packaging design initially, and then now it's just design podcast.
Design, cool people.
Yeah, right.
Everything.
So we got founders on and illustrators and just people who work in the space, in the CPG space mainly, and we just talk to people. So I'm Kirk, and that's Andy.
All right.
Brr, 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 brr.
We forgot our hair horns.
Yeah, you're right. You got that.
Do it in post. Just do it in post.
Dude, we're doing it in post.
Right. So what are we talking about today? Who wants to introduce this? Andy, you look like you are dying to introduce what we're going to talk about.
Wait, is he dying or is he dying to introduce something?
Well, dying to don't die. Yeah, Andy,
Poor guy has 3 kids. School's just started.
I gotta stick around.
Yeah. We need
or I have a heck of a life insurance policy.
There you go.
Nicole knows
Wait,
all
what
about
was
that.
What was that movie with Dabney Coleman where he was a cop and he was trying to get himself killed because he thought he was dying? Do you guys remember that? Do you remember Dabney Coleman?
Yeah.
I only know him from 9 to 5, though.
Yeah, Elliot, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do, but I don't remember the name of the movie. We'll have to put that in that link.
Show notes.
I'm trying to think of what risk Andy could take in order to get himself killed at work, like falling down the stairs at his office.
Oh, I did just change out the battery. Like right up here, I'm pointing to the ceiling, is where our smoke alarm, and I just changed it out. And I was standing on, you can't really see it because it's really dark, but there's this like little side chair here, and it's just like modern, and it's got little wooden pieces. I stepped on one arm, and that's a staircase. Okay, so I stepped on one arm, and the chair sort of went like whoop like that, and I was like whoa, and I almost took a spill over into the stairwell. So.
Oh,
there you go. There you go.
Yeah. I feel like I have a new lease on life is how.
But now that you said that and you do it, they're gonna nullify your.
I know.
All right. So sorry. Okay, Andy, what are we talking about?
Yeah. We're talking about mascots, brands that have mascots, and it is a thing that has been around, I think, since cavemen started branding.
Let's go with that.
Fire.
Yeah.
And it persists today because it works so well.
Because now they're branding insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Fire insurance.
They've evolved. Fire insurance, stick insurance.
Insurance.
But yeah, we've brought some examples of various mascots. We're going to talk about why they're effective, some of their tidbits in history, and then also some modern day examples, some of our favorites and modern day examples of these mascots.
Good job, Andy.
Thank you.
That's my podcast partner, motherfucker. Oh,
I see you.
That's the sound of knowledge dropping.
Seriously.
So let's assume cavemen didn't invent mascots.
Yes. Sorry. That was
For a moment. Let's follow.
factical error.
Yeah. It's just alternate truth. So it's your still truth. But if I remember correctly, because we've done a couple past shows about mascots, I think mascot is I'm going to be Cliff Clavin for a moment, but I think mascot from like some sort of French word from like around. So you're
would it be pronounced Masco?
Masco.
Think it may.
No, it's French. So it's mon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it would have 12 more letters.
Kirk.
Yeah.
Some accents.
Yes.
There goes our French audience, Elliot.
Yeah. Damn it, we alienated them already.
When we talk,
Let me apologize. Yeah. Oui, oui.
Parlez-vous?
other act. Oh, good.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I guess technically the mascot is a European invention.
Like everything, or most things.
Yeah. Like the
commercially related.
Yeah. Like the bicycle, wasn't that a European invention?
Oh.
Probably.
Roller coaster, was that a European invention?
Probably.
Colonization.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah.
European invention.
Imperialism.
Nailed it.
Inventions. Man, this podcast got heavy quick.
Oh,
yes. Hey, man, gotta. Hey, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tiptoeing.
Mascot's been around like about around 120, 130 years, something like that. And so it's been obviously something that has shelf life. These mascots come along. A lot of them stick around. I mean, think about there's food mascots. We'll be talking about those today. There's sports mascots. Every games has mascots. You know, the Paris games just finished up and their mascot was a hat. Did you guys?
Yep.
Or a chapeau.
A sus hat. Yeah.
So I guess you can basically take anything and anthropomorph. How do you say that?
Yes.
And they could come to life magically, and then it's boom, instant mascot. We should develop an instant mascot kit. That's like
what?
Beta Head kit when it first started. Just get some eyes and some legs and some, and then you just slap that on whatever you want, and boom, instant mascot.
Just get AI.
I like that. Yeah.
Get AI on that.
What would the mascot be for AI?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, the easiest is a robot, but that's way too easy. I think it has to be something more subversive and sleek. And
you think about the way that
isn't it Haley Joel Osment?
I was thinking Elon Musk. But...
True.
We want good AI, not Elon Musk.
Right.
But I was thinking, they have like Siri uses like the swirls. And it seems like anytime anybody talks to someone in the future, it's like swirls or like something floating.
Waves.
Right.
Something.
So
I saw Star Trek. That's how
there
they
you go. Right.
So is it waves with eyes?
Yeah.
Just waves with eyes.
If the French get away with that stupid fucking hat, we can do waves with eyes.
We can do waves with eyes. Multicolored waves with eyes.
Yeah. Love it.
That for AI and surfing.
Yes. Right. There you go.
Surfing the web.
2 birds with 1 stone. So,
excuse me, I gotta go register a trademark real quick.
Yeah.
Seriously, while we've been talking.
Yeah.
LaMascotCreator.com.
I got swirlyeyes.com.
Swirlyais.com.
Swirlyais.com.
Pure Duel in town here where I live, who does have Google eyes, like different sizes of Google eyes they keep with them. And then they'll go on walks places and on random like photos or icons they'll put.
That's great.
On them. It's amazing. So I live a few blocks from a hospital. Hospital has a maternity ward, and so there's an icon of a baby because he walked by, and now the baby has giant Google eyes. So that's pretty amazing. So I guess that's the mascot for babies.
There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of Google-eyed mascots, Todd, you want to tell us a mascot you brought to the store today?
Oh yeah. So I know you were referring to me with the googly eyes because my mascot certainly does not. But yeah, mine is probably the oldest one that we're going to talk about. And it's probably a bit of a surprise to those of you who. I'm sorry, say that again, Elliot.
Is it Wilford Brimley?
Diabetes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I was like, what will Andy and Kurt and Elliot never guess in a million years? And I want to see how they can weave that into something brilliant about food packaging. No. I'm going to talk about Betty Crocker. You know Betty?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's been around. And I picked her because she has been around for a super long time and she's kind of seemingly bland. So I wondered to myself, well, she must have something going on if she's been around that long to be kind of, bland. So anyway, I dug into it a little bit and she started way back in 1921, the Gold Medal Flour Company, which I think is still around.
Should be.
Because I think, I don't buy flour, but I think I've seen that at the grocery store. It was made by this company called Washburn Crosby Milling Company, and they sponsored a contest, and you're gonna love this contest, where they ask home bakers to create or to do this jigsaw puzzle, and then they return the jigsaw puzzle to the milling company, and the prize they got was a pin cushion in the shape of a Gold Medal flour bag. Isn't that cool? First of all, you got time to do a jigsaw puzzle, and now they want to make you sew. So, that's
and you had to secure it. Like there wasn't tape back then.
I don't know. Right. I don't know. Yeah,
or something.
Andy, I didn't look that part up. You're right. Maybe they put it in a giant envelope and it came out.
This takes like, how rebates are notoriously like convoluted. Like take a picture of the. You buy the thing, then you take a picture of the barcode, then you send in the barcode, but you only send in the barcode on the second Tuesday of every month. And you have to turn around 3 times before you put it. So this takes this is like the beginning of that. Like, go get this jigsaw puzzle, make it, then send it back to us whole. And then we'll see. It's just baffled.
We'll send you a pin cushion. That's a lot of work for a pin cushion, but it looks like a bag of flour. So
there you go. This answers the question I always had about why we had puzzle day when I was in home ec in 8th grade, and now I know.
So you could get your own pin cushion.
If that promotion comes back,
who says that home ec doesn't build life skills?
Yeah, right.
True. Apparently Todd doesn't buy flour, which is just the weirdest statement.
Yeah. That's what I'm hungry.
Have you ever bought flour?
No.
You never made pizza dough or
well, it's always in our house. It's in our house.
It's just it appears.
It's just magic.
It's the same bag.
The flour fairy brings you flour.
That's right.
There's a
check for if it's
sitting in the field that they built Todd's house around.
We get back to my story.
Yes. We digress. This is
you got a lot of digression coming up.
That's what Pablo Escobar was saying. It's the flour fairy. Like, no, man, that's cocaine, bro.
Okay, I'm glad you threw that one in, Kurt. That was totally worth it. With the thousands of contest entries that they received, they also got mountains of questions such as, why does my cake crack on the top? Or how do you make a one crust cherry pie? I don't even. Does anyone know what a one crust cherry pie is? I guess
just crust on the bottom.
Just on the bottom. It didn't have the lattice on top.
That seems kind of easy. I'm not a baker, but just get one.
Don't
crust.
Put the stuff on top.
Don't put it on. Yes, leave off the second crust.
Yeah.
How do you make a glass of water?
Yeah. Yeah. Kirk, do you have the recipe for ice?
Oh man, that's a tough one. It's passed down generations.
Anyway, so in addition to all that, they got thousands of letters that needed those answers. And in the beginning, the company executives were answering these letters and then realizing that it probably should come from a more trusted source other than some old white dudes. they asked this admin, Bruce Barton, to create a spokesperson, a trustworthy spokesperson.
Okay.
So Barton, he was a publicist and a former magazine editor. He started this ad agency called Barton, Durston, and Osborne, not Ozzy Osbourne. He wasn't born quite yet. That was in 1919. And then, so 9 years later, they added another B, George Batten, and became Batten, Barton, Durston, and Osborne, or BBDO, as we know.
There you go.
So there you go. Look, a little point of. All right,
that's
look,
pretty cool.
Hey, you just sit down, Kurt. I got something cool here for you now. Here's a sidebar on that one.
Uh-oh.
Barton and BBDO are also credited with naming General Motors and General Electric.
Wow.
So when Washburn Crosby changed their name to General Mills, you know that One Trick Pony had a hand in that too.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to name this?
Yeah.
What do you think about General Mills? Oh my God, you're brilliant.
What about that new insurance, like that Shaq talks about?
Right, the General.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about
They
that.
named that as well. Maybe they named it wrong.
Those commercials are growing on me. They've kind of upped their animation, and I love Shaq. So
I love Shaq.
Yeah.
He's in everything.
they missed an opportunity though with General Mills and General. They could have actually made it a General.
Yeah, there's General Dynamics, General Apathy. There's like a million of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Betty, I guess. So she's been in everything. You know her. She's television commercials. She's been in print ads. She's hosted radio shows. Her face and her signature have adorned baked mixes and cookbooks for decades. And the name Crocker was actually, it came from one of their retired executives. He was really well liked. And they just picked Betty because she sounded like a wholesome and friendly American. So, you know, easier time back then.
So Betty Crocker was not a real person.
Betty Crocker was never a real person.
Wow.
It wasn't like Mrs. Fields, who started.
Right.
She started as a real person.
Yeah.
Now she's, anyway, and she also
Or
has
Rice Krispies.
Yeah, true. I mean, because they can't keep replacing those elves or whatever those are.
Immortal.
You know, they work for Rice Krispies for a while, and then they go live in that tree, and that, and they
Keeblers. Yeah, the Keeblers. Yep.
Pecking order. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That theory. I like it.
Are elves immortal, Kurt? Are elves immortal?
They live for a very long time.
Okay,
if you think about like elves from Lord of the Rings,
that's what that's my
elves,
reference point.
Rice Krispie elves, Elven Scroll from video games. There's all kinds of
elves.
Santa's elves.
Right. Okay. All right.
I want to be a dentist.
There you go. There you go.
Anyway.
So not much has changed with her trademark red spoon and signature, but her face has changed a lot. That's what I thought was interesting. On the 15th anniversary of inventing Betty in 1936, they commissioned a portrait by this artist named Nisa McMain, and McMain blended features of several of their home services department members into this otherly but rather serious and kind of stern image. And she had gray hair. And this was Betty for 20 years. And then they kind of started playing with her a lot more. So she's changed 6 times since that first 20-year period. And every time, luckily, she's getting younger and happier, because the earlier ones, you were like, man, don't piss off Betty. Piss off Crocker. Just get out of this Crocker's yard. You know?
Get that spoon and smack you.
Yeah. Corporal punishment. Yeah.
She wasn't. It was a nun out of her habit, right? She put on the red.
That's right.
Superior nun with the red on.
So last time Betty was updated was almost 30 years ago in 1996. It was on the 75th anniversary. And check out what they did. They collected 75 women of diverse backgrounds and ages who embody the characteristics and the spirit of Betty. And they composited all of those together. I think they used magic to do that. And that served as an inspiration for the current painting done by a guy named John Stuart Ingle. So they mixed 75 different women together and got 1996 Betty. So I think it's time for an update on Betty. But, you know, what do I know? Anyway, one last interesting thing, because, you know, Betty's kind of the shit. She gets 4,000 letters a day.
What?
And 4 to 5 marriage proposals every week.
Guys.
So
guys and gals.
I mean, come on. Well, we know she can cook, right?
I bet I'm going to go there real quick. I bet there's a Betty Crocker kink out there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Betty Crocker is going to be the first real fully automated sex AI doll.
Oh, God.
I think that would be awesome, Kirk.
Well, then you can truly have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn.
Ow.
The Betty Crocker model.
Yeah.
Well,
that joke has layers to it.
So you guys are more familiar with the world of food, and obviously it has to stay fresh, but Betty hasn't changed a crazy amount over the years.
Yeah, how do you think balance heritage and equity and all of these things like Todd's talking about with, like, why would some Gen Y or Gen Z kid care about Betty Crocker cake mix or whatever?
Yeah.
Money. You do it with money. You do it with mounds and mounds of corporate money. That's how you stay relevant. No, real quick. I wanted to go say, you talked a lot about the visual of Betty.
Yeah.
But, at least for me, my only touch point with Betty Crocker is the signature, the logo,
Red spoon.
And so I was trying to rack my brain. I was like, have I seen like a cartoonish version of her, like a Martha White? That's right. She makes biscuits, or something like that. I'd never seen a picture, because it doesn't seem like they lean into the visual anymore of Betty. It's more of the mark. And so I don't know if that's intentional or what. But I mean, Elliot, you can look at all these heritage brands that sort of came out around that same time, whether it's Coca-Cola or Pepsi or any of those that have been able to retain relevance. It's harder for a baking mix because, soda is always in style, and like it's going to come and go, as like the, Olipop or whoever.
And there's so many types of sodas.
Oh yeah. So, but for baking mixes, it is interesting. And you do see it on shelf mainly around alternative, like gluten-free. Like Betty Crocker is never, at least I don't think, is ever going to compete in the sort of alternative baking mix, coconut flours, gluten-free, that space. They're always going to exist in that sort of traditional space. And it really, I mean, I don't think they're making any kind of like inroads into the younger generations.
Nah, I don't think so either.
But I think when you grow up, you do eventually, you like go get a Betty Crocker mix. When I want to go make, actually what you're going to do is go get my client, My Better Batch. That's who you're going to replace with Betty Crocker.
Go to mybetterbatch.com.
Mybetterbatch.com.
That's batch with an A.
Yes.
Oh,
I was going to say, because otherwise they're some kind of cage match situation.
But Andy, I think you're right. Like they don't really use the picture that I know of. I mean, I just thought it was interesting because it's been around for so long, and it is kind of bland to me. But like haven't updated it in 30 years. Maybe because they're starting to figure out not every baker is Caucasian, and they're like, "Oh, what are we going to do now?"
Hold on a second.
I know. I'm sorry. I've been told.
Yes.
Because I mean, like if you're doing a
flower,
one person that represents a lot of people, like now it's going to be almost 100 years old. Like it's got to look different.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that it's also a disembodied mascot too, like she's become removed from her likeness, and that's an interesting take on mascotism as well, mascotification.
It's sort of like a character or a persona.
Yes.
Yep.
Because you're exactly right. She's been disconnected from her visual appearance.
Yeah.
This note in the world of baking.
Mascotification. That's a great word.
I love that.
That's a great word. You know, with Betty Crocker, I posted the image, or you posted another image just in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one, it looks like the Wicked Witch actually grew up and got some gray in her hair and became Betty Crocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
She
other
lost
one
the
looks
green.
Yeah. It's funny. The other one looks a lot like my friend's mom, who was Nicaraguan. It's pretty trippy, like the updated one. So, but still very fair skinned.
Yeah.
The biggest problem that they have when you have with mascots is people tend to get attached to things. So when you change how something looks, a mascot, it's totally like, oh my God, what'd you do? Remember when they first changed the rice, the Snap, Crackle, and Pop?
Yeah.
I mean, we said, and people were just like,
right.
What'd you do?
Yeah.
Why'd you do this?
It tastes
like,
different. It
right,
tastes different.
right.
It's like, no,
they're not fucking real. They're not real people. It's okay. They didn't go through plastic surgery. Like, we don't keep them locked up in some type of AI vault where they only get time off to go to go to the photo shoot and make commercials.
Or you update an M&M, that sets the world on fire.
Oh my
goodness. Yeah.
I know.
Because the biggest problem is that people want to anthropomorphize. I can never say that fucking word.
You did great.
And thanks. And
80% of the way there. That's
yeah.
We know what you're saying.
Anthropomorphize.
Yes.
There you go. So they want people, they want these characters to have people features, and so therefore you're able to slut shame or sexualize, like Mr. Clean, right? Like, he was hot because there's like, oh, all these women doing their heteronormative stereotypical cleaning, get Mr. Clean to help them clean. They can stare at him while he dances. It's like
the brawny guy,
right?
Well, so allegedly, like brawny guys on the DL, right? Like, isn't that the whole thing? And the Mr. Clean, because he has the earring, might also be on the DL. Like,
I heard. Well, so we have Ellie and I have a friend who worked for an agency that was the Mr. Clean agency, and they did focus groups, and the women were like having some serious, like, like chat board stuff about Mr. Clean. They had some serious Mr. Clean fantasies going on there.
Wow.
Jesus.
Because he's like, he's muscular, he's bald, and he cleans. Like, I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Does he use flour?
He's not
Mr.
Betty.
Of course he does. He's not Mr. Perfect.
He's not. Does he buy flour?
He's not Mr. Bake.
After Betty leaves, then Mr. Clean.
Oh dear.
He cleans up, so to speak.
And
did we move on to a different mascot then?
Yes,
that's a good mascot.
It's going down.
It's this week to go with that would cause everyone to stop listening. Okay. I'll go ahead, if it's cool with you guys. I'll go ahead and jump in with the mascot I've brought to the floor here, because I will admit I am not a fan of seafood. Like, I will eat shrimp, or I'll eat I don't know, like crab dip and stuff like that. But
that's seafood, Elliot.
I know, but like, I don't eat fish.
He doesn't seek it out.
Wait, have you ever had fresh caught king salmon?
Like salmon?
Like king salmon, it's called Atlantic king salmon or Pacific king salmon.
I've had like smoked salmon, like lox and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He hasn't had it. He hadn't had it, Kirk.
Oh,
I know. It's like buttery and like balls. I mean, just like, oh, it's so good. We had it when we were out at the designer thing in Seattle.
But see, that's how much I remember that. I was high.
I remember that. Oh, wait. I remember that.
Do you have?
Sorry, Elliot. Please continue with your loathing of seafood.
Okay.
Yeah. So, when everybody's complaining that everything is getting overfished and the world's going to hell, it's not because of meat. That's the whole.
Oh, that's you.
Don't blame Elliot.
This is what you're doing here. Okay.
I'm busy. I'm too busy with the animals that are causing deforestation. I'm not.
Not my fault.
All right. You can't do it all.
Methane.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's just me.
As long as you don't move to Ohio, I think we'll all be okay.
Okay. So, my mascot I brought today is Charlie the Tuna. So, kind guys remember Charlie? Charlie's still around.
Yeah.
Charlie isn't, again, he's not one of those mascots. I think he's more, probably if someone said sketch Charlie the Tuna or sketch Betty Crocker, they could probably easily sketch Charlie the Tuna.
Yeah, I'd say.
But I haven't seen a Charlie the Tuna ad in a long time. Like,
no.
you know, but we all know who he is. And if for no other reason, I would say all the listeners will know who he is. What you got there?
Job,
Look at that. Like, did you just make that just now?
Yeah.
Damn.
Can't hold Kirk back.
He was thinking about the king salmon, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just happened to look like Charlie the Tuna.
Yes. Yeah.
Lucky break on his part.
Let me just put glasses on him real quick.
So this is good. So we're talking about anthropomorphized mascot. Charlie the Tuna is an anthropomorphic cartoon mascot, and he's the spokes tuna for Starkist, right? So again, he's around. What do you guys do?
Spokes tuna.
Spokes tuna.
You're killing me.
Yeah. What else would you call it?
I'll allow it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah. I mean, spokes tuna is, if you get a thesaurus and you look up mascot, one of the other
subreddits
for nomenclature is spokes tuna. That's just, you can't blame Rocher. Just like the mascot, blame the French guy. Don't blame me. I'm presenting information. Okay. All right. So I know this is going to, again, break your hearts, but Charlie the Tuna is also an ad agency creation. I know this is freak.
What?
I know.
I thought he was like a child, like one of the founders of Starkist or whatever. They like had a child. And
is that
Charlie?
It's not done with green screen or something.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Real?
Yeah. So he was created in 1961 by Tom Rogers from some agency, some fly-by-night shop out of Chicago called Leo Burnett. If any of you
heard of him, heard of him. They'll do something.
Yeah.
Don't be mad, but I've never heard of. I don't know who they are. I'm not joking.
Well, actually, Kirk, if you look at the top 10 mascots, most recognizable mascots, Leo Burnett did about 8 of them or 7.
Do they actually do the one I'm going to talk about?
I don't think so.
No.
We'll figure that out. We'll look that up. But
this is European, right? Well, okay. Sorry. We're back to Elliot. I'm sorry, Elliot.
Yeah.
And this train keeps hopping off the tracks.
I know that.
So we were, we're in the seafood aisle now. We're not in the cereal aisle. Anyway, Leo Burnett. So he became one of the most recognized characters in American advertising after these guys spun him up. So this is again one of these things, life imitating art a little bit, or advertising imitating life, I guess. So Tom Rogers, the guy who created him, he based the character's sort of patois, his vocabulary on a friend of his who was a hipster musician. This guy, Harry Nemo, and I love that because
Nemo.
Yeah, that's great.
But apparently this guy was known as like the creator of jive. Like if you look, yeah. So he's sort of so Rogers went to the source, right? Went to the source. So Charlie the Tuna, I should say, is a blue hipster tuna fish with a personality that's sort of a cross between a beatnik and a mafia wise guy. Big frame glasses and a pronounced New York kind of accent. He wears a flat cap. It was originally a beret back when he first started in the 60s.
And Elliot, I always thought he reminded me of Phil Silver's Harold Hecuba from Gilligan's Island. Do you guys remember that? The producer, Harold Hecuba, who did the musical of Hamlet.
I could see that. Yeah.
I mean, I always thought he reminded me. Of course, I got all my learning from TV. So
Todd actually has a master's degree in TV.
Yeah. And watching.
So the voice, as I mentioned, he is kind of this New York kind of wise guy, a little bit, but hip. Herschel Bernardi voiced Charlie the Tuna, and he passed away a number of years ago. He passed away right around the time, roughly, that Betty Crocker, I think, was last redesigned for them. So, but the commercials were animated, so they're animated commercials, the originals, and we'll put some of these up on our episode pages here so people can look at them. They were animated by DePatie Freeling Enterprises, and Todd, we've talked about them before.
Yeah, we did. Pink Panther.
Yeah,
Wow.
Panther, and they did
many others
and some Looney Tunes. So you guys probably will also know who Charlie is because of the very famous catchphrase, "Sorry, Charlie." Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Wondered where that came from. So there was always like a VO that was talking about, Charlie would be trying to demonstrate his good taste. And he thought that all his friends were getting chosen by Starkist, not because they had they tasted good, but because they had good taste. So the VO, he would always get rejected, and then the VO would say something along the lines of, the voiceover would say, "Sorry, Charlie, you're just not good enough to be Starkist Tuna." So some of the ads would end with Charlie encouraging viewers to tell him Charlie sent you. And earlier advertisements would have some other form of sea life saying, "But Charlie, Starkist doesn't want tunas with good taste. They want tunas that taste good." So that's like
there it is,
or something like that, right?
I love that the character that talks like New York is a character with good taste.
Yeah,
right.
A gaudy New Yorker.
Nothing says highbrow like Brooklyn.
That's right.
Hey, wise guy, you want some seafood? The truck just turned over out.
Yeah,
it's good. It's fresh.
It'd be a shame if all that seafood went to waste, wouldn't it?
Something would have happened to it.
That would be amazing if a cat was talking, say that, or something like Sylvester. But I like I was saying a minute ago, I do like Charlie's takes on good taste. He talks about art. He talks about music. He talks about playing tennis, because people play tennis. He has etiquette. He starts tossing tablecloths over rocks. He does one commercial talks about interpretive dance. This stuff is so great. So he appeared in more than 85 advertisements for Starkist until the eased, and then the campaign started to get retired, right? It kind of got long in the tooth. And as I mentioned, Herschel Bernardi, who is the voice of Charlie, he died in the mid-'80s, died in 1986. And but Charlie made a comeback in 1999 when Starkist revived him, dusted him off, brought him back to life. To introduce a new line of tuna products. I'll say that again. To introduce a new line of tuna products marketed as healthy. So do you guys consider tuna to be a health food?
Yeah. I always thought it was like a diet food.
Like lean protein. Yeah.
Right.
Good protein.
Legitimate. Yeah. Okay. And he's been the mascot of the company since then. And as I mentioned, is one of the most recognized brand mascots in U.S. advertising. But thinking about these ads that have gone on since the early 60s, one thing is really kind of, I can't wrap my head around this, is why does he always want to end up being caught? He always talks about his friend, relative, Stark picked up, and he never sees him again. I mean, I think the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top for Charlie. I think he has really thought.
It's what's sort of the classic smiling pig at the barbecue sign.
Yeah.
Like these poor animals don't know what's happening to them until it's too late. And they're happy up until that point. So I think Charlie just perpetuates that, where he's like, he doesn't understand. Like you said, he's not brilliant. And so he doesn't understand that if you get caught, you're dead. You're going to get eaten. No more sorry, Charlie.
Yeah. So Elliot.
Yeah.
So you're wondering about why he always wants to get caught. And this is a fish with a beret and horn rimmed glasses that talks, and that's where the logic starts breaking.
As a friend who's a fish who somehow manages to smoke a cigar underwater, I have all kinds of questions.
Maybe it's a flare.
That's amazing.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Flare.
It's a flare. It's not a cigar.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Again, that's where the logic starts breaking down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was totally rolling along until that. And now
I'm going to believe Snap, Crackle, and Pop are real then.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
What do you
They were over at my house last weekend. We hung out. Yeah.
I'll bet they were.
Those motherfuckers can drink. You would not think.
to be so tiny.
Yeah. Actually, they're not that tiny.
Oh,
they're not that tiny. Yeah. I mean, they look like they're about 5 inches. They're more like about 10 to 12.
okay.
Like, G.I. Joe action figures.
Yeah.
So
they're the 50s.
they try to make them look. Yeah, they try to make them look smaller to make people feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I think it was Snap, Crack, and Pop that were your.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Snatch, Crack, and
Wow.
Wow. Flop.
Oh God.
We're going to have to put a warning label on this episode.
This one got dark.
It's my fault.
No.
So what's the cultural impact that Charlie the Tuna has had? So I already mentioned the Sorry Charlie phrase, right? So that's something the little kids know. They, of course, don't know where it comes from or anything like that. But so, yeah, 50, 60 years, people have been saying that. And they don't even know the origin of it anymore. There's a Los Angeles DJ and voiceover artist named Charlie Tuna. That's what he called. It's the hip hop star, Charlie Tuna. And I'll spell that CHALI, new word, number 2, NA. And he chose his rap name, of course, by slightly tweaking the name. That's almost like, if you had a vanity plate for Charlie Tuna.
Yeah. Charlie Tuna. Yeah.
But he comes by it honest. When he was a little kid, his uncle gave him that nickname. And so he just stylized it to
that's cool.
More interesting.
Did he wear a beret and horn rimmed glasses too?
Not sure.
Yeah.
But he should if he does.
Okay.
If he's not.
Yeah. And then,
or just do his whole show underwater and smoke a cigar.
Yeah. And related today,
I'm partying with Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
He drowned doing his.
There's hype people.
Yeah.
Yeah. His muscle. If things get out of hand. Oh, Charlie.
We'll fuck you up.
And I'll stand on each other's shoulders and be in a trench coat.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't fuck with us, man.
Yeah, that's like, man, this little person's coming after me. And gonna kneecap me, and I believe him.
Who you call a little motherfucker?
How about snack size? How about that? Fun.
There you go. Yeah.
It's like Halloween candy. So he also makes an appearance in the 2012 animated film Food Fight. I'm sure you've all seen that.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
He's even on the cover art for the North American release of it. So, and then he was also, do you guys remember MasterCard's 2005 Icons commercial that had all the ad icons, all the food icons sitting around having dinner? And it was during Super Bowl 39. We can, again, post a link to that. People can look at that. And then this is the other thing. So thinking about long-term, maybe indirect influence, you can't tell me that SpongeBob SquarePants doesn't have a debt to Charlie.
I bet that bitch has smoked a cigar underwater.
Yeah.
But like, you go and you watch these ads, and I'm thinking, that's SpongeBob. That's just totally the different characters and all the personalities, all the pictures. I'm like, yeah, everything old is new again. Okay, SpongeBob. I see you, SpongeBob. I see you. Yeah.
Well, Kirk, your drawing of Charlie looked like a SpongeBob character.
Yeah.
Right. Totally. And I was looking up what he actually looked like, and I wasn't even close. I got the hat and glasses, but that was about it.
Yeah. I dropped an image of Charlie through the years in our chat. You can take a look. Yeah.
The first one actually looks more like a tuna, right? Like he has the pointy fins, the tail.
Swimming, right? He's true.
He's got the little ridges on between the dorsal and the tail fin. But the other ones are questionable.
99 is scary as fuck.
Well, that's when he was rolling with Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
He does. He does look like he let himself go a little bit in that one.
Yeah. And then 2011 was like the flat phase. Everybody was doing flat designs. Icons and shit were coming out.
Now, I don't want to start unfounded rumors, but I think for a time in the late 90s, he was hanging out a lot with Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
can see that.
They'd be like Charlie and two guys.
I'd watch the fuck out of that show.
That would be a great show.
Two Charlies and a baby.
Yeah.
Two Charlies and a bag of cocaine.
2.5 Charlies.
Charlies. Oh, that would be so good.
That would be.
Yeah, the earlier one in 61, he looks hip. He looks cool.
Yeah.
And then the most recent one, 2017, he just kind of looks
sad.
Who was that? He looks like the character from Major Dad in the last one, 2017, the kid. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about?
You think about American Dad?
Not American Dad. Yeah, sorry, not Major Dad.
Major Dad.
Yeah, jeez.
Steve, the kid, Steve.
Yes.
Yeah.
He kind of has that look to him, like because of the glasses and the eyebrows and.
Mm-hmm. I've never the two of them together.
There you go.
He looks like 2017 looks like he's auditioning for Finding Nemo or one of those movies.
I think you're right.
Well, sorry, Charlie, he didn't make it. He didn't make the cut.
No, I think we should reboot Finding Nemo, but it should be about that guy Harry Nemo.
Yes.
And then Charlie has to go look for him.
Charlie's there. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
The culmination is the jive scene from Airplane.
Yeah, because then we could all learn to speak jive.
No, you don't speak jive like this. Oh man, so bad.
Yeah, they need to dust off Mrs. Cleaver.
That's right.
Billingsley can come out of retire. A hologram of Barbara Billingsley is going to teach today's youth how to speak jive, I think.
What could that?
Yes. I mean, we were talking about AI, and that seems like it's the perfect use for that. Right?
Yeah.
Drop AI is like, I'm done here. And it just goes and colonizes Mars or whatever it's going to go do.
Yeah.
Right. I think that one of the interesting things, to bring it back to Charlie in a relevant way, we've been talking about him this whole time, but in sort of a show relevant way. What's interesting is that, to my knowledge, tuna is not high on the list of children's foods. And that for whatever reason, they chose an animated character for what is it? An adult food, like marketing to adults.
Yeah.
And then they kept it up. I'm curious other than like, well, all the other tuna companies are doing this. Let's zig, let's zag. Yeah. Let's try this.
But who else? Yeah. And who else was doing this kind of stuff at the time? I mean, think about this. You think about the 60s, what was really popular right at that time? Flintstones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flintstones were on air.
Jetsons and
all
the
Flintstones
that style.
Yeah, the Flintstones isn't a kid's show, but parents would let them watch it because it was animated, right?
Mm-hmm,
Prime time.
Yeah, and so you're watching that, and then Charlie Tuna comes on. He's like, "Oh, I want tuna. I want to get tuna.
Yeah,
I want to get tuna." So just right there alone, you're getting the annoyance sale, right? Like, your kid's bugging the fuck out of you. Like, all right, fine, we'll just fucking get it. Shut the fuck up. And you buy a can of tuna, right?
Betty, buy some tuna next time you get the sack of flour.
So needless to say, there's only one can of tuna in Todd's house.
Yeah.
I don't know where it comes from.
The tuna fairy.
That's right.
Andy, to circle back around to what you said. So I actually, when I was, growing up in the 70s, my mom would make tuna fish and tuna fish sandwiches, mix it with mayo with a little relish. So I had my fair share of tuna. So it was kind of a kid's food when it was like lunch and it was a sandwich.
Yeah.
And also with some of the ads that I'll share, the broadcast ads, one of them has a young Greg Brady, a young Barry Williams at the end when he was 11 or 12 talking about how much he loves. It was a black and white ad just to date it.
Wow.
About she loves tuna fish, loves Charlie Tuna. So they did put single women, they put married couples, they put kids. I think if you look at the campaign as a whole, it was this idea that tuna's for everybody. They never put a cat in there. It's like,
yeah, that's the thing too when you're looking at demographics, right? Like, what's your demographic? And they literally were like everyone.
Yeah,
they were the Lego of demographics, ages 1 to 99, right? Like,
right.
Let's do it. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, since you guys wrote your dissertation, doctoral theses on Thesis, what's the plural thesis? Is it just thesis?
Theses.
Theses.
But with a cap on the front of it. The big pile of theses.
I'm sorry, Kurt. What were you?
No, man, I don't even know how to follow that. I'm just going to Wikipedia the shit out of my character.
Get it.
Well, the reason I picked my character is that my dad had a sweet tooth, and he also loved simple bad foods. Like one of his favorite snacks was American cheese and Cheez-Its. Now, before you say anything, don't knock it till you try it. I would upgrade the American cheese to like a cheddar slice, and you get the Cheez-Its. You have to use Cheez-Its. You can't use the fake knockoffs. They're just not the same.
The high lows or high lows or whatever.
Yeah, man, there's nothing that's the same as a Cheez-It. Like I was thinking, like, oh, these are pretty good. These are pretty good for Cheez-Its, like fake Cheez-Its. And then I had a bag of Cheez-Its. I'm like, nah, man, this shit don't even come close.
So,
but you take.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Uh-oh.
Have you ever seen or have you ever eaten a piece of, I think it's like apple pie with a piece of cheese on top of it?
Yeah.
Is that's your jam? You'll do that?
No.
You've just seen it.
I've seen it. I've tried it. It's just not my thing.
Okay. Yeah.
No. Yeah. No. Apple pie to me is a la mode, right? Like warm with a big heaping of ice cream and whipped cream or something like that. But no. So my pops would get a slice of American cheese and take two Cheez-Its and like pinch it off and make like little sandwiches.
I like
Snickers.
Sophisticated.
Right? He liked Snickers. He liked Pepsi Cola.
Oh,
yeah. He liked sardines. He got me turned on to sardines. And but the one thing he really loved in the morning was Frosted Flakes. Right?
Oh yeah.
Tony the Tiger, Frosted Flakes. My pops love that shit. So I grew up with Tony the Tiger.
Would he yell out there great every morning?
Yeah, and then he punched me in the face. I don't know why.
he was wearing a blue bandana and he was just pointing at the sky while he's
because every time he would swing his arm up, I'd be too close.
Yeah,
they're great, and he punched me in the jaw.
You'd wake up and it's lunchtime.
Yeah, quite abusive.
So out.
But no, I'm kidding. No, so Tony the Tiger was invented in 1950. I'm going to be Wikipediaing mine because
all right,
I didn't have the vast knowledge, but he's a anthropomorphic tiger mascot from Frosted Flakes. He was actually portrayed in the Unfrosted movie by Hugh Grant, Tony the Tiger.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And in 1952, Eugene Kolke, graphic artist and director at Leo Burnett.
There you go. There's the agency.
Hey.
He created a character that became the mascot for Kellogg's, Frosted Flakes. They had other mascots, Katie the Kangaroo, the elephant, and Newt the New. Like what the fuck? Newt's the New.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that like a hooved animal of some kind? Like a
it's
but it's just Newt the New.
Oh, okay.
It's new.
It sounds like
a bird.
It sounds like the name of a group.
It does,
right? Like Charlie Tuna.
I'm
Newt the New.
Huey Lewis and
Newt.
Yeah,
he's the opening.
Yeah, Huey Lewis and Newt the New.
Huey Lewis and the News.
And the good news.
Yeah. So I was looking up to the oldest mascots, and the oldest one on record that they said was the Quaker Oats guy. Like you don't think about that, right? But in 1877, Quaker Oats came out or something like that, and they officially made him a mascot in like the early 30s, I believe. I'm just referencing of what I read earlier. I may totally be wrong. So people, you can fact check. It's just fucking mascots, not that big of a deal. So
close to curing cancer, but if you just want to blow them off, that's your business like that.
Thanks to these Frosted Flakes, my cancer's cured.
The cavities they're out of control.
Yes. He was given a son, Tony Jr. at one point. but he became the cereal icon. And the people who made him were former Disney animators, Quartet Films. They designed the Jolly Green Giant, Snap, Crackhead, and Pop, Ham's Bear.
Oh, yeah. He's coming back. I've seen him on a few things from time.
From the land of sky brewed water, Ham's the beer refreshing. They did the Baltimore Orioles and other things. So in 1955, there was a print ad that Life was taking the microphone away from Groucho Marx and saying, "You bet your life they're great." So like from that came the phrase, "They're great." So that was in 1955. In 58, he peeled on Kellogg's box cereals with Hanna-Barbera characters like Huckleberry Hound and Snagglepuss. Tony began to become humanized in the 70s. He was given an Italian-American nationality. The consumers were briefly introduced to more of Tony's family, including Mama Tony, Mrs. Tony, and the Dada Antoinette. So apparently it's a theme, right? Yeah. So you either get New York
and
sophisticates, you get sophisticate spokes tuna, or you get all Tony's family, right?
Tony's family.
It's on Tony's family for the record,
and he was voiced by Thurl Ravenscroft, real famous voice actor.
Wow. Yes, yeah,
famous. Also, the voice of the Grinch.
There you go. See, thanks.
Tony connects it all.
You do, man. I won't say anything else bad about you today either, because I've been getting a lot of pickups from Todd the Encyclopedia of useless knowledge. But no, that was the thing, and I just seen how he's evolved over the years. He became the title. Kellogg's was a title sponsor of the Sun Bowl, and the game was being branded as Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, and that was in 2019. It transferred to WK Kellogg in 2023 after the split, and then 2022, Tony the Tiger made his debut as VTuber on Twitch. All the things I'm reading are from Wikipedia. Wow. Thank you, Wikipedia. Appreciate it. This is pretty fun. There's a trademark controversy. Speaking of owning brands, I'm going to read this verbatim. Tony the Tiger began his trademark debut at Kellogg in 1952. The tiger was used as a cartoon character featured on every box of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. The feline was federally registered as Kellogg's Frosted Flakes trademark. Furthermore, the registration and classification was under food products. 12 years later, one of the top oil companies, Esso, now ExxonMobil, began using a similar tiger as a promotional mascot for gasoline products. I remember that.
Put a tiger in your tank.
Yeah. Exxon followed through with protocol and federally registered the tiger as petroleum products. Unlike the Kellogg slogan behind Thurl Ravenscroft. Thank you, Todd. They're great. Exxon had a slogan. Esso had a slogan. Put a tiger in your tank. So, yeah. And so they were peaceful between 52 and 55. They spent over $1.5 billion advertising in the cereal and petroleum industries. In 52 to 95. Sorry. From 52 to 95, $1.5 billion in advertising.
Wow. Did shit get real between those when Kellogg started adding petroleum to their cereal?
Or
that's when it happened.
Or when it started to add corn to gasoline, your pick.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
right. There you go.
Right. Yeah. Now with leaded.
So Kurt, Tony is obviously, he's a super famous cereal mascot.
Yeah.
From what you guys know, do all cereals have some sort of mascot, some sort of thing that visually represents them? Because I can think of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Run. All kids cereals.
All kids cereals.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you think about Kashi's not even a cereal anymore, but you think about the better for you cereals definitely don't, at least the conventional ones,
right,
nuts and that kind of stuff. Those don't have it, but and even what's even more fascinating is that, so you've got the big CPG brands that have cultivated these characters and these mascots around cereals. Then you have private label store brands who also cultivate, or they feel like they have to throw in.
Yes,
if they're releasing a knockoff Frosted Flakes or whatever, a sugary cereal, basically, they have to also support it with some sort of mascot. And so it's interesting that it's like, and those have no history to them. They're usually not great execution wise. They don't make sense because all the great ones have been taken by the brands that have already released all this stuff. But it is interesting how it's like, that's like one of the boxes I bet on the creative brief when they're like, all right, we're going to launch this new cereal for kids, get the character in line, as we do the food photography and everything else, what kind of bizarre character can we throw on there?
Yeah. Was it Multi-Meal? What was the big bags of like generic?
Yeah.
Generic. I was like, they never tasted the same, but
yeah,
your parents would buy it. And I'm sure some parents bought it and poured it into the box so their kids would eat it. But we all knew the shit wasn't right. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But we didn't complain because we thought it was the right thing. But yeah, the biggest thing too is you even think about the ones with people on them, like Wheaties.
Yes.
Who's Wheaties mascot, right? Like it's always been an
athletes. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one I can think of where there's been a person on it to where it's like, oh shit, there's always a person or athlete highlighted on there. So that's pretty cool. Of
course, Little Chocolate Donuts. That would be the other one. I'm the only Saturday Night Live fan here.
Yeah, I don't
remember that one.
That's a deep cut, man.
Deep cut.
I remember Colon Blow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phil Hartman. Yeah.
So that.
Do you think that they picked a tiger because it represents energy?
No, it represents Italians.
Oh, Italians love some Frosted Flakes. I mean,
Tony.
Go to Italy. That's all they eat. That's all they eat is Frosted Flakes.
The tigers is roaming around the street.
That's where they came from. Yeah,
they're native.
That's the pizza topping.
Yeah,
it's mozzarella and Frosted Flakes.
Ooh, that's the Tony. I want the Tony.
Like, do you drink red or white wine with Frosted Flakes? Straight.
Actually, you put it in there instead of cereal. It's a milk.
Yeah.
Put the wine in.
Guys, laugh. I'll bet you if they had a gelato cone that was made out of crushed Frosted Flakes, that would taste.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Duh. That's a no-brainer, man.
Are you drinking from a candle? What are you drinking from?
It is quite colorful.
It's a silicone cup. So
yes.
Break it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's having a hard time with your green screen.
Yeah, it is.
Drinking from it's R2D2.
And I'm just drinking straight shine. That's what I'm doing.
Well, that's because you're from the South, man. It makes sense.
Drinking out of a 2022 Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh.
Okay. So it's funny you guys are talking about Kirk, you're talking about cereal. Todd, you bring up mascots with cereal. I bring one of my examples is a contemporary example of a cereal that is the brand is marketed towards adults. Like, I mean, I think it was more for millennials. It's called Off Limits. And it was one of the first sort of better for you alternative cereals of the past few years. And
it's have kale in it.
It does not, but it has like antioxidants. It's got
same thing.
Pandan, which is a Southeast Asian plant. It's got coffee, micro roasted coffee, not just regular roasted coffee, micro roasted coffee.
Tiny
vegan marshmallows. So this is what they're putting in their cereal to cater to, folks that are looking for, who are trying to, they want to have fun and they want to relive their Tony the Tiger days when they were kids in the 80s and 90s, but they can't because, they've sworn off sugar or, gluten or whatever it is.
You don't want to look the middle-aged Charlie Tuna is what you're saying. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's sitting there slumped at the table. His glasses got a little smudges on them and everything. Wow. And he's pouring a big bowl of Off Limits cereal. So their characters are they're very prominent, like their names are very prominent on the boxes. So for their strawberry flavor, strawberry cereal, it's Spark. And it's like this sort of, and the illustration style is like flat graphic, sort of almost derivative of like a 90s style. So they're trying to definitely through the visuals, through the flavors, attract sort of the millennial, older millennials. I guess they're trying to get the younger Gen Zs and Gen Alphas and all those folks. But they have Flex, which is their cinnamon cereal. I think it has maybe some protein in it. Maybe it's vegan. Dash is their coffee flavor. And like coffee, like you're not going to buy that for your kid. I mean, maybe some people do, but you're not going to willingly give your child coffee. So that is 100% for adults, that flavor. Zombie, which is their pandan cereal. And I think that's like, it has, it's vanilla flavored. And I think that's more to like, like calm you down. So the Dash
has traces of THC in it.
I was going to say that the zombies dragging looks pretty calm.
Exactly. Yeah. And then Fluff and Puff is their sort of intro into
that's your THC.
That's their THC. That's their pancake. But that's their Snackle Crackle Pop or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Fluff and Puff is their version.
Yeah, PR Puff and Fluff.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting how they've sort of taken this notion of mascots, traditional mascots, and they've sort of turned it on their heads. They've made them look sort of not super attractive, but they're weird, and you want to look at them. You want to learn more about them. Definitely on the shelf, they're going to stand out because you're looking at very highly stylized Tony the Tiger or the Snap Crackle Pop or those illustrative styles, and then you have these like flat graphic bold colors of what Off Limits does. So it's a pretty interesting approach. They were very buzzy a few years ago when they came out. You don't hear much about them anymore, but obviously they're adding flavors and they're still out there. But it's an interesting approach, and it's a modern day example of the mascot.
Yeah, Andy, I'm getting from it. Well, the zombie one I'm really attracted to, and I'm getting a big Adventure Time vibe off of that.
Yeah. Rick and Morty. Yeah,
it's
all those
probably the same audience, right?
Bob's Burgers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the same audience.
You're exactly right. Yeah, so that's this visual style they're going after. The other brand that I want to talk about that's utilizing mascots. In a
one
whole
brand.
Way. No.
One brand.
I'm going quick. Is one of our favorite, Kirk and I, one of our favorite brands, and it's called Orabora. And they do sparkling water. And basically it was their answer to boring LaCroix. So they do botanically infused, funky flavors, and they've gone one step beyond all these other jokers, as far as I know. And they've created a land. They've created a whole ecosystem of characters, and they refer to them a lot in their marketing, and they talk about it a lot. And I think that's an interesting approach, because then it like sort of, there is no limit to your character, like you could it's just like this ever evolving world. And then it could, if they wanted to, they could turn it into a VR thing, like, or whatever, but they just
tight skins or something. Yeah.
And their characters, and they're so creative, and I think it's a more evolved extension of their brand. Whereas like Tony the Tiger, Charlie the Tuna, they're sort of like ham-fisted, sort of like, here's the mascot because consumers are stupid, and here you go, boom, eat it. Orabora approaches it, I think, a little differently, and sort of it's like a wink, like you're in on this joke too, or you're in on this like sort of world creation.
Yeah, they're not yelling at you.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
These are the quiet spot on the shelf.
Maybe a little Wes Anderson-y if he did a animated movie.
Yeah, they also like the flavors themselves, or like Andy was saying, very cool, like that green bean casserole.
Yeah,
they have like ginger Meyer lemon,
lavender cucumber.
Yeah, and each each character that's on there or drawn gets a haiku. So every can has like a haiku on it.
That's
and the owners are really cool. Like Paul, what's Paul's wife's name? I'm blanking on it. But the Vogues. Yeah, the Vogues. Really, really cool people, and the product itself is great. Like, it's really good water, but it looks really good too, so you're paying a little bit more. But that's where the actual branding, that's where the actual nostalgia and is created, because like, oh my God, I had this great can of sparkling water. And what was it called? Ouroboros. What? And you show someone like, oh my God, you can stare at it for at least a solid 5 to 10 minutes and find new stuff on it.
Well, and the name itself is almost a character, like it's a world. And they talk about that, how like it's sort of this like, there's like Bora Bora, Aura is your, what's a good
yeah. Aurora Borealis. That's what
yeah. But like some of these names, these are the names of the mascots. Owl Pacino, the desert owl, is on their Cactus Rose, featured on their Cactus Road. Vanillo, the armadillo, is on their Raspberry Vanilla. You talked about the haikus. They have a character named Haiku the Sloth, which is on their Lavender Cucumber. And then they have a let's see. Where is it? Oh yeah. Nayslayer, the seahorse, shows up on their Pineapple Holy Basil. Like that's a crazy flavor. There is oh God, it's a badger on their blackberry black pepper. I can't.
That just came out.
Yeah, that one just came out. Then they have Baddie, Baddie the bat is on their pumpkin spice, which is a reissue. But I mean, like they're just fun. I mean, it's like you can hear the sort of brainstorm happening. And I also like they don't belabor it. Like we talked about these very corporate mascots that probably
ad nauseum.
Focus groups and all this iterations and everything and like just fine tuning. And I'm pretty sure the Ouroboros people are like in the morning they brainstorm a new name, and then by like noon, by like lunch, they have it. They've already sent it off to the printer. It's done.
They keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Who actually do they have someone on staff who does their illustration work and design work? Who's
so
for the character?
Paul's wife did it for a while. I think she might still do it. But yeah, that's the other thing is that it's he had in a co-founder and a partner in the business a very talented illustrator and designer who could build this whole world. Yeah, and they did work with the studio Moxie Sozo.
The person who did it, they were, gosh, I can't remember their name, but they're the main illustrator that started it, and then I think it's Sarah, Paul's wife. She picked it up and did other stuff with it, but yeah, the original developer was, I can't remember their name.
It's a great example of a very complicated but very interesting design system that they've created in their cans. The characters always to the left. They've got the sort of world enveloping on the right, but each can feels very unique and different and new. But it
feels collectible. Like I would want to get one of each one and read about it.
That's a great example. Yeah.
Successful packaging, it's meant to be disposed of, recycled. It's very utilitarian. But I feel like successful packaging is once you've eaten or drank whatever, what it came in it, you still want to keep it. You're like, this is super cool. I want to your point, Andy, like, a new can came out. I collect all the other cans. I want to put this on the shelf. And then you really start to see the family play out, the lot play out, like what you were saying.
And the horizon lines probably all line up,
Or absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is
that one. Yep. That's a great one.
I saved this because I really liked it. Technically it's already expired. But they teamed up with Graza, the like the green and lime green olive oil, like in squeeze bottles, I think.
Yeah.
And he teamed up with them to make this, right?
Oil mark.
It's like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really good. So it's almost like a mocktail.
Yep.
When it's cold, holy shit, it's so good. It is really good. But,
yeah. And they were able to add that line extension in that little wiggly guy. I guess it was like an olive or something.
Yeah.
Chilling.
They were able to do that because they've already established this look and feel on their other cans. So that was an easy jump for them to just add this other little character. So I think that's to sort of put a bow on it. This conversation is that mascots are still alive and well in brands. Brands are still having fun with them. They're still launching products successfully using them as a strategy, but they're just evolving and they're doing more interesting things, and they're not so like isolated within the world, of their products and how they relate to their products and how they talk about the brand and everything.
Yep. Very good. All right. Well,
yeah, I think it's interesting too that it's in a way they're working harder maybe, or they're doing things that are more sophisticated. It's not as overt, right? It's much more subtle. So
you're not yelling.
So I think, it's like, hey, I'm here. If you're interested, that's cool. It's almost like the guy in Costco. Hey, well, come check it out. And if not, that's fine.
Do you have solar in your home?
Yeah.
Can I talk to T-Mobile?
It's almost they're the supporting character instead of the main character, right? Like the main character, you can tell when you pick up a can, it's Ora Bora, but it's like, oh, look at this cool guy, look at this cool guy, and with that fluid like idea or ideation of mascots, like Andy was saying, it allows you to do whatever. That's why I love when brands, especially like a lot of coffee brands or different brands, have different logos for different things. Like they just make a bunch of swag and it's just all kinds of different shit to see what sticks. And it all works because they're not so beholden to the actual brand. Like the branding's there, but they're not super rigid about it. It allows for that fluidity and fun. And that's what you get with this. But
it's more of the story, like Andy, you were saying, the brand story, the universe story, and nothing. Yeah. It's not the Tony the Tiger story.
Right.
Yeah.
It's treating the consumer a little bit more sophisticated and like the consumer is smarter. It's.
I don't know about that.
Okay. I'm gonna go buy some Ora Bora and get smarter.
You should go buy some fucking flour.
Yeah,
you should go buy.
While you're buying Ora Bora, go just look at the flower shelf, just so you know where it is.
Tuna. I'm gonna look at the flower. I'm like, oh, that's what it looks like.
El said it.
I'm from the South too, Kirk. So all of our flour looks like biscuits here.
All comes in that form.
Biscuits or pancakes.
Todd's version of flour is refrigerated in a cardboard tube.
Yes. Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, this has been a blast. I've totally enjoyed
it. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. We definitely need to do this again.
We do.
We need to. You know what we need to do is we need to develop mascots for each of ourselves.
Oh yes. Yeah. I like that. That's a good challenge.
Mine's just the middle finger.
And then mine's if it's body parts, then mine will be a taint. If France can do a hat, I'll do a taint.
With glasses,
thing.
Glasses and a hat.
Yeah.
Taint a thing.
And a New York accent.
Yeah.
What's sweltering down here? It sure is sweltering.
Change your underwear.
Jesus, use some fucking powder.
Talcum
that shit down there, huh?
Ooh, on that note. Oh man.
Yeah, well, all the listeners have left now.
Yes.
Either off the flower or they're just getting sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
All ones of them are still listening.
This is the unedited part because even we haven't made it this far into that.
Yeah, we're done.
That's really funny. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool.
Do it again. Let's hang out at the supermarket / bar / snack / skate shop bait shop / gas station /
roadkill.
Yeah. Just / field where Todd's house got built, or
slash
distillery.
Awesome. / abandoned house with the empty pool in the back.
Broken down cars in the front. Yeah.
Right. That's right.
We're here.
Here it is. You can smell it before you can see it. You'll know it.
Sorry, Charlie.
Charlie composing body in the edge of the woods.
That's right.
Ew.
Smells like fish over here.
Yeah.
Tell him Charlie sent you.
Tell him
the morgue.
God, that's
he's sleeping the fishes.
All right. Well, cool.
Take care, guys. Great to see you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Bye-bye. Peace out.
Bye.